Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Nerd After Hours. And no, that is not Carissa. this is this is my friend Cyrus, aka Nod,
Howdy.
and him and I are going to talk Transformers today because we're both big fans and have been for probably since we were little kids.
Oh yeah.
The big three agendas that we're going to talk about is we're going to be talking about some Twitter drama because I think that we need to add some voices to the internet that are on the good side instead of the hate side. Because I've seen your tweets. I already know that you which side of that debate you're
Yeah.
on. We're on the same side here. And then we're going to talk about Rise of the Beast. And
Yep.
I'm going to talk about Transformers combat and how it's kind of changed over the years.
Oh.
And it's a cool change. And then
Okay.
we'll go into miscellaneous things. We all have like cool stuff to show you. So let's go ahead and I think we'll start with the Twitter drama. Start with the T early.
Yeah.
So if you guys don't know, there is a Transformer named Nightshade in the Earthspark series. I haven't watched any of the series. I've only seen clips of here on YouTube and TikTok and now Twitter, because certain individuals are throwing a hissy fit like a bunch of babies. Like literally, it's a hissy fit. And that is because Nightshade goes by they, them pronouns.
Yes.
Of all the things one could throw a fit over that. Cyrus, your thoughts?
So having just throw context, I've seen all of Earthspark. I'm very much caught up. Nightshade in general is a pretty. Here's my thing. Like just in general, I don't care what people want to go by. That's
Yeah.
my thing. You want go by what you want.
Yeah, we don't discriminate around here.
Exactly. I don't care. Tell me what you want to be called. That's what you are.
Yeah, that's fine with it. Same here.
And Nightshade is a character who, in the show, I will say they do kind of do it a little ad nauseum as a viewer only, though. Because it's anytime they meet a new character, they're like, oh, hey, I'm they, them. And it's like, yes, I know that as a viewer. I understand that in the writing, they have to say that.
Yeah, they gotta.
They gotta let the...
Isn't Earthspark supposed to be for a younger audience anyway?
A little bit, yeah. There's
Yeah.
some really cool sequences. Like there's specifically a fight scene with Megatron and Optimus Prime teaming up. It's really cool.
Oh, I saw that on Twitter. That's part of
Yep.
the thing. The other thing I was going to talk about.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But in general, Transformers are robots, and on top of that, if you have a problem with Transformers doing the whole LGBT AI plus, I think I got all the letters in there. They've always been supportive of the community. It's always really nice whenever you see something you enjoy supporting that community. So
Yeah.
while I will say, while I don't think Nightshade in particular is handled extremely well, I think that the character isn't handled poorly either. They do have a really standout episode talking about, they use alt modes as a metaphor, including one of your favorite characters, Tarantulas. Potentially one of your I assume he's one of your favorites because he's a standout from Beast Wars.
Yeah, I'm a big Beast Wars fan for context for the audience.
Yeah, Tarantulas and Nightshade have a really interesting conversation about identity, where Nightshade, one, going by they them, and also opting to not choose an alternative mode, leads them down to find Tarantulas, and Tarantulas talks to them about how the alt mode and what you are doesn't change who you are. It's an extension of your own self. And it's a very good episode. It's one of my favorites from the latter half of the show. Even though it is strangely romantic in a weird way. There's parts where you're like, Tarantulas, are you into Nightshade? But it's a good episode, and I think Nightshade is a good character to represent. As far as Transformers go, I think it's handled better than Lugnut into Clobber or the mess that is IDWRC. I think Nightshade has been handled the best.
Okay.
As a fan.
Yeah, and I do know some things. Like I've seen things on Twitter, and they've talked about how there's been other LGBTQ plus relationships in Transformers, which is really strange that they're throwing this big a fit. And the only thing that I can gather is it's because it's a kid's show.
Yeah, and
which is really silly because it's like when I hear like my grandfather, or you know what I mean, not him specifically, but somebody from his generation, you
Yeah.
know, would complain about like, oh, there are all these, you know, people of color in movies, and I'm like, bro, that's what they all sound like to me. Everybody,
Yeah.
they're just getting mad because there's
It
representation.
It's yeah, exactly. And yeah, it is really strange because, you know, me having read IDW's comics and knowing the mess that is RC's story arc,
Hmm.
but then you also get the really sweet relationships like Rewind and Chrome Dome, who's probably my favorite that's probably my favorite like gay relationship in media because they're so cute and it makes so much sense. They are the best.
Yeah.
But then there's tons. You also have Windblade and Chromia and RC and everyone to a degree. um,
Oh,
she,
oh, fun fact. In Japan's version
Mhm.
of Beast Wars, Air Razor is a guy.
That's right. Yeah, Tigatron and Japanese Air Razor. I forgot.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it's
they're a gay couple in Japan.
very much. Yeah, and as far as I know, that wasn't too big of a deal.
Yeah,
I've never heard like that be. We like Japan threw more of a fit about Kiss players than it did the
Kiss
Beast
players.
Wars stuff.
Yeah, I don't know about anything about the Kiss players. I'll
We
admit
don't
that.
talk about it.
Okay.
We don't talk about Kiss players.
Okay.
Um,
Then anyway.
That's how bad it is. We don't talk
Okay.
about it.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Maybe I don't want to know.
No, I'll say that right
Fair
now.
enough. I'll take your word for it. But yeah, like I don't know. I feel like it's so silly. And then I got into an argument with a guy like today, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really argue with him so much as I just kind of trolled him for being an asshole
Yeah.
because he was talking about like he had a picture of like he edited that picture that's going on around of Optimus Prime with a trans flag, and it has the famous quote, "Freedom is the right of all sentient beings."
Yeah.
You know, which makes sense that LGBT people would like that quote because it's literally, and it's a very Optimus quote.
Yeah.
He's very much a freedom fighter. He's all about helping multiple people. He's like in various incarnations
dad.
of him. You know, say again?
He's a dad. He's
Yeah,
space dad.
He's kind of like, yeah, he's very much like that, and he helps different kinds of species too. Like, because there are also in different continuities, there aren't just Cybertronians. There's like Transformers from like other planets and things like that too.
Yep. The colony planets. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's definitely, and that's the thing. So it really does make sense that Optimus would fight for everybody.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, and then like this guy tries to tell me Optimus wouldn't get involved in this. I mean, I'm like, are you sure about that? Because I feel like Optimus would protect people who are members of the LGBT. That just seems like something he would do because he kind of like, he's a member of an oppressed group of people on his own planet. Do you not think he would make it would only make sense that he would want to fight for other oppressed people on other planets?
One of my favorite things whenever people talk about like, oh, Optimus Prime wouldn't do this, Optimus Prime wouldn't do that, he would just like shoot him or whatever. He wouldn't care about this. To put in perspective how much of like a carer Optimus Prime is, it took Megatron murking half of the Autobots for him to go, you know what, we should kill that guy. Like the 1986 movie, and even then he was like, well, I gotta do it. It's the only answer. That's the only way now. But
Yeah,
any other time he was just like, Megatron, knock it off.
Yeah, he does stream like, yeah, and it's like yeah, that perfectly sums him up perfectly.
Exactly.
He's very much like, you know, he understands it's war, right?
Yeah.
In any incarnation, he understands that this is a war and that casualties are bound to happen, but it's never been his go-to. He often, even in stories where he's very cutthroaty, like in that video game. Oh, what is it? There was a video game that recently came out, and
Oh, is it Devastation?
maybe it might be that one. I didn't play it. I just watched the cutscenes because it's like, oh, it's like watching another Transformers movie because I'm that kind of dork. But anyway, Optimus is trying to. He's got his two of his Autobots get murked in front of him by Megatron, and he's being held down, and he's still trying to reason with Megatron.
Yeah.
It's very much his go-to. He's not a cold-blooded killer, and also like, and Megatron's a complicated character too. I know that there are versions of him that aren't quite so evil, and there are versions of him that are as evil as they come. So he's a complex continuity character. That's kind of what I like about from what I have seen of Earthspark is the idea that this guy, that he used to be a bad guy, and now he's one of the good guys.
Yeah.
You know, because personally, I'm a fan of that redemption arc story.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, if you remove to a degree, right? If you remove the context of the 1986 movie from the Generation 1 cartoon, Megatron is a totally redeemable character. He's still a villain, right? But
Right.
he's a Saturday morning cartoon villain.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
He's not a complete monster.
yeah, up to the point of the 86 movie, it's like, okay, season 1 and 2 Megatron totally redeemable as far as we know.
Yeah.
As far as we know.
As far like I can't remember if I've seen the '86 movie or if I have. It has been a long time, but I do remember I watched a lot of the episodes on VHS.
Yeah,
with my dad. Poor guy had to put up with the Dinobot episodes a lot.
I have the limited edition steelbook of it.
There you go.
In like 4K HD or something like that.
But I'll bet you it's still a good watch, though. I mean, like,
it's fantastic.
Yeah, I met anything Transformers that I haven't found at least mildly entertaining.
Yeah,
So like, come on, I enjoy the Bay films, and they are not good storytelling at all. But those fight scenes are immaculate.
Oh yeah.
I literally have a playlist called Best Battle Scenes. It's just a private playlist I watch from time to time just for background noise. All the Transformers fight scenes are in there from the movies, just because they're the only good part of the movie.
For real. The only good one is Bumblebee, and that one doesn't count anymore.
Oh, I thought they were starting a new continuity with Bumblebee.
Yeah, so Bumblebee doesn't count towards 2007 and onward, but it counts towards Rise of the Beasts.
Yeah. So I thought, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
I heard Bumblebee was like the start to a new continuity,
Yeah,
which
it's a whole new thing.
If I may say, is very Transformers. I think.
Yep.
Because they always
just starting over.
Yeah, just starting over. They're always doing it, so it's kind of like cool. It's very. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you
I think the only time where they were like, all right, we're starting over, was Beast Wars and like Beast Machines by extension, because they were like, all right, new thing. Nah, pranks, bro. Pranks. This is G1 still. We're still talking about them.
Still talking G1.
Yep.
Yeah, I still do think that was kind of cool, and it was cool because it was like they were their own thing. They were though they were in the same world, just kind of their own story. Which we can talk about that here in a minute. But back to the Nightshade thing. Yeah. Like, because we can be warned, we get off topic.
On a tangent.
Yeah, that's okay. We're gonna do that though. I'll try to pull us back because we are gonna talk about Rise of the Beast here in a minute. But yeah, like, I don't understand how they can hate on it. And also because like the other thing is these guys are robots, right? Technically, if we're talking about it in terms of gender, all they have is gender identity. So they're more like the LGBT than they could possibly be like any heterosexual person.
I can't remember if I put it in my tweet or if I just omitted it entirely, but I was typing it out at least, and it said something along the lines of like, they are robots. Wouldn't it be weirder that the other ones picked pronouns instead?
You know what? That makes a lot of sense to me.
See, right? I was like, isn't it weirder that the other ones decided like, yes, I am this.
I am a male robot.
Yeah, he's like, I'm big burly dad robot, and you will be Jazz.
Like, yeah, I totally get that. That makes they're alien robots. Literally,
Who cares?
And the continuity of how they create new robots is different every time. Like sometimes they're built, sometimes they're born out of like this like silver slime.
Sometimes you're Scorponok and you have a human fetus in your chest.
Yeah, exactly. Transformers have the weirdest continuity of anything. Oh, that's another thing, by the way. One of the guys that got mad at me. So what I was doing to troll him, because I was telling you that, is I said, nah, that's not Optimus, that's Nemesis Prime. You're a fake fan. See, you can't even tell which one's which.
I have the Comic-Con Nemesis Prime on standby.
I'm not gonna lie, Nemesis Prime does look cooler than Optimus, but that's just because I think anybody would look cooler in black armor.
Dude, I was not a Nemesis Prime fan until, well, I say until he was the first one, but like RID-01 Scourge was like my childhood. That black and teal with the pink.
Oh yeah.
And the big stupid shoulders.
I think my first interaction with a Nemesis Prime was, I think it was, what is it called? I think it was called Energon, like Transformers Energon, something like that, I think.
Transformers Armada.
Yes, there we go. Yeah.
Yep.
And Optimus was trying to save some people who were inside of a truck that was very much like the one he turns into. And he grabs the truck and pulls it up, and the the protozoid or whatever, like what pre-Transformers are basically.
That's
Yeah,
robots in disguise.
Okay, there you go.
We're talking about the same guy. We're talking
Okay.
about, where is he? Shoulders McGee over here. We're talking about this guy.
Yes. I just didn't know him.
I have him on standby as well.
Yeah.
That guy lives on my desk.
Yeah, and he was, that was my first interaction with Nemesis Prime.
Yep, that's Scourge.
He got scanned by, or Scourge. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first time I ever heard of anything. He was basically evil Optimus.
Yeah. He was so cool, and the fact that so he's Black Convoy in Japan. He was Scourge over here, which then Black Convoy gets used now for any Nemesis Prime over in Japan.
Yeah.
So which is why he kind of gets lumped in with the Nemesis Primes.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's such a cool design. He uses that old Laser Prime look. Such a good. But no, 100%. It would be kind of interesting to see, I don't know if you know what Shattered Glass is. But it's
I think I've heard of it. This is the one where it was flipped, right? Like Megatron was the good guy, Optimus was the bad guy, and Unicron was actually, at some point, Unicron actually turns Optimus into a good guy or something in that world. Yeah.
So in the most recent version of Shattered Glass, what they did was they also, not only did they flip their alignments, they flipped their personalities entirely. So instead of being like a conniving little schemer, Starscream is like a super loyal and noble soldier, and so it would be very interesting to see a Nemesis Prime or a Shattered Glass Primes. Here's the thing: if you're gonna make fun of Transformers, make fun of it the right way. Use the actual Bigot Prime. Use Shattered Glass Prime. He can be Bigot Prime.
Oh my god, that would be amazing. That would be amazing writing too.
But
of course, the sad part is they have to make him in the black armor, because if they don't put him in the black armor, all the conservatives on Twitter are going to be like, see, he sides with us.
So he is purple and blue are his colors.
Oh, goodness.
He's purple, gray, and blue.
Okay, so that's the color. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that's Shattered Glass Prime's colors.
Oh, my goodness. That's fantastic.
Yep.
But yeah, I've only seen some things of the Shattered Glass thing, because I follow another YouTuber whose name escapes me, but I watch all of his what is he? I can't remember.
Is it like Mr. Nobody Man or something like that?
He does he talks about Transformers lore, and he has tons of videos where he talks about Fusors or the history of.
Oh, that's Chris McFeely.
I think so, and he does.
Yep.
Yeah, and he does the
the basics.
The basics, yes.
Yeah, Chris McFeely, yes.
Yes, that
a good boy.
Dude,
we love him.
I literally, when I have stuff to do on my computer and I just can't leave, I literally will throw him as background sound sometimes, just to listen to it. That's how I learned about Pretenders and
bless my heart, Pretenders.
And that's how I learned about Fusors and all the ability for what are the combiners and all that stuff, because I honestly didn't even know they had their own names. I just thought that it was just something some Transformers did.
Yeah, they're all their own personalities and everything too, depending on continuity.
Yeah, and it's just wild. Transformers is actually really honestly, it should be an LGBTQ plus person's favorite thing, because there's just so many different kinds of Transformers, and the characters can go in all sorts of ways. Honestly, and the representations there, they have relationships.
Oh yeah, everywhere. And not even that, you have in one of the IDW storylines, Lugnut. I was talking to a guy recently because he goes, "Oh yeah, we should have got a Lugnut toy in Cyberverse," and I go, "Well, we technically did, because Clobber, who is basically a female version of Lugnut in the comics, Lugnut transitioned and changed their name to Clobber."
Oh,
so I was like, we technically did, if you want to get pedantic about it.
So literally trans Transformer confirmed.
Yeah.
Holy shit! You just taught me something. I need to find this character.
That's the other thing, though, is RC is also technically trans.
Was RC supposed to be a guy?
RC was male. We'll say male robot until Shockwave cut her up. Forcefully. So, not by choice, but it's there.
Transformers confirmed?
They are, yeah. In IDW 1.0, they exist. And
oh my goodness, that's amazing.
I can't think of one that exists anywhere else. Because depending on writer, Clobber is sometimes just Lugnut's sister, sometimes it's Lugnut themselves. So it depends on who you ask, depends on who's writing.
Yeah.
And same thing with RC.
Yeah, well, we'll always have Nightshade.
We always have Nightshade now. Brand new character. Yeah. Tarantulas isn't they them, but Tarantula, in my opinion, Tarantulas wants to get with Nightshade. 100%.
Oh.
Tarantulas was looking for it.
Yeah.
They're both science nerds. And he was wanting it, in my opinion.
Well, I kind of get it. There's a few they thems that I've looked at and I went,
you're just like, yeah.
I get it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna pretend. You kidding me? I've had a few. Oh yeah, there's definitely a few like people that I have looked at that are non-binary, and I'm going, yeah. I'd like to make them snacks. Well, at least I'm honest about it. There's no delusions here. But yeah, I get it. I get it. And plus, like, from everything I've seen of Nightshade, they seem like such a wholesome character too.
I won't lie, I didn't like them the first few episodes, but that's only because I kind of felt like they were a little boring compared to the other Transformers that get introduced.
Oh, okay.
Like,
because Nightshade
so we got
refused to transform, right? That's part of their backstory at first.
So yeah, to a degree, and that's not what made them boring. It's so much that for the first like 10 episodes, you get to learn about Twitch and Thrash, who are the first Terran Transformers. That means they're from Earth, and they are born from like this. I think it's Amalgus Prime's Matrix thing. He had a Matrix, and it touched a puddle, and the puddle can make Transformers.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, and Twitch and Thrash.
We've seen that before. We've seen that before with the cube in the Transformers movies.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Kind of like that. Yeah. Maybe not exactly the same, but yeah.
Yeah.
It makes
Twitch and,
all we need to know is it makes Transformers.
Yep. So Twitch and Thrash come out, and it's like, oh, cool, these guys are great. And I think Twitch is supposed to be autistic. Not gonna lie, they're very hyper focused and very a little bit like unaware of social cues. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say. So they come off a little bit like that. I don't know if that's on purpose. I don't know if that's just because they're supposed to be like a new creature or whatever. But Thrash definitely seems more like I don't want to. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for helping me with that. Yeah, he seems a little bit more neurotypical than Twitch does. But the general consensus on Twitch is we love her. She's adopted. Transformers community loves her. She's the best.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, she looks like a baby of Windblade and Whirl. She's amazing. But which is great, and I love Twitch and Thrash. And then like at the end of the first 10 episodes, you get the 3 new guys, which is Hashtag, Jawbreaker, and Nightshade. And it just, to me, Nightshade was the least interesting of the 3. Like Jawbreaker's like this big burly dude, and Hashtag was like a really tall another tall female Transformer. Gotcha. So it was like, okay, and she's kind of also a little bit muscly. So, and then you had kind of a basic bare bones Transformer like Nightshade, and I was like, oh, what are they gonna do with them? I was like, where is that one gonna fit in? It was just kind of one of those things where I was like, well, you have you have Thrash, who's also kind of basic and bare bones. Mm-hmm. So it just, to me, and also their personality, like Jawbreaker's a very timid, he's like a gentle giant type, kind of like animated Bulkhead. Hashtag is like an influencer type, and Nightshade came off as like a nerd type sort of, which I was like, they already have that with Twitch kind of already. So like I said, I just found them a little boring, but after the Tarantulas episode, that like they shined. I am a Nightshade fan post the Tarantulas episode.
Well, I mean, it sounds
I like all the Terrans.
Yeah, there you go. It just sounded to me like they just needed a spotlight, and sometimes that happens with a lot of characters. Like they're like, I'll be honest, like I'm a big Power Rangers fan too, right? I honestly like when I started watching, I thought everybody in the show, the Power Rangers, weren't interesting until they were morphed. Until everybody got their own like spotlight episode. I kind of felt like the Red Ranger and the Green Ranger were the only ones that mattered, and then the rest were just kind of like there. And then they got their spotlight episode. I'm like, oh, okay, these are fully fleshed out characters. But it's just when you have a cast that big, you're going to have characters that get the spotlight all the time, and then the other ones, they don't really get it as often. So, it is what it is. Like Rhinox was like that for forever in Beast Wars.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
He was. So he was just there. He was just there.
But yeah, Nightshade 100% is one of those characters.
Yeah, they just needed a spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
That was exactly what needed to happen for Nightshade. They just needed a spotlight. Oh, yep. And the fact that Optimus, I saw the clip where he corrects himself. He says, where he talks to Nightshade and then like honors their pronouns.
Yeah,
man, those guys on Twitter just steaming.
I will say my only gripe with that scene is prior to Optimus correcting himself, he doesn't use a pronoun
ever.
He doesn't. To Nightshade, whenever he says, I think he says something like, he's like, "What about you, Nightshade?" And then Nightshade's like, "Oh, well, my pronouns are they, them." And then Optimus is like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, that seems a little slightly uncalled for. And I think that was just like something that got caught up in the writers' room.
Yeah,
they had to put it in.
Yeah, they just had to put it in just to kind of show that Optimus would accept Nightshade for
exactly.
Who they are. Yeah, and
which he would because he's Space Dad.
Yeah, Optimus is very much like. Honestly, I think Optimus cares the most thing that Optimus would ever care about is actions.
100%. 100%.
Nothing else matters to him except for actions. So as long as you're not a vile person, you treat people well, regardless of where they're from or how they behave, those kinds of things. Like Optimus is like, cool, I'm cool with you.
Yeah,
it's like when you get to like the crueler versions of Megatron and Starscream. That's when Optimus is like, all right, you're coming out with the big cannons.
Time to end it.
This is where it all ends.
Yep.
But yeah, and anyway, so that's the drama on Twitter. And I figured we should talk about it because you and I obviously we have friends and probably coworkers and people we care about that are members of the LGBTQ plus.
Yeah,
I have friends that are trans, so it's very much like I just felt like I needed to put a voice out there that was like, hey, we see you guys, we like Transformers too, and we're not like those other guys who are assholes.
My biggest problem, and one of the things that infuriated me, was someone had posted a picture of Optimus Prime with like trans groomers underneath of it, and I was like, I saw it and I was like, I don't know, something about it infuriated me because I was like, that's not, one, it's not the character at all, and two, that's not indicative of the message from Transformers in general. That's not the message from the team that designs the figures, from the writers' room. If I had to guess, and I would hope not from the writers' room. And it's also never been the message of Optimus Prime. And it's that, I don't know, something about that bothers me. Having grown up with Transformers and tried to, and like the whole idea of building robots incorporating itself into my life with me going into a STEM field and more, and I don't know, something about that really bothered me. It pissed me off.
I get it too, just from a character. And so like I'm a writer. I write heroic characters. Optimus Prime is literally like the Superman of the Transformers world. Like he's literally like the same guy. As an example, right? He's this very powerful, very heroic robot, and as an example, he's this very stand-up person. So it's like the idea that Optimus Prime would hate a type of human being who has never harmed anyone just for their identity is ridiculous to me.
Yeah,
it's solely ridiculous because Optimus would be all about actions.
Yep, and that's even shown in like, it's not even just G1 stock standard Optimus Prime. You see it in the various iterations from Transformers Cybertron, the Unicron, and all of the Unicron trilogy. You see it, I think, most prevalently in Transformers Animated, where there's a lot of times where I think Optimus Prime is written closer to Optimus Primal, to a degree, where he's kind of this younger, pluckier leader with less experience, but he not only looks to his team for support, he also needs them to understand that his support comes with consequences. If you're gonna fuck up, he's gonna call you out for fucking up.
Yeah.
Oh, pardon me. Sorry.
It's all good. We've been recording for a minute. I think we'll be fine. I'm not too worried about monetization because we only have like 400 subs. So
yeah.
On that.
But yeah, he's But yeah, he's one of those characters that, aside from the Bayverse version, who's just a bloodthirsty monster. Optimus Prime is.
I wouldn't even call him a bloodthirsty monster. Yes, he's more willing to do war, like fight things, but it's a war type scenario. Like in the
he goes for the face a lot.
True, but like True. I'm just saying that, like, from my perspective of him, he's still
Fair
not a
enough.
monster. He's just a soldier. He's very
Fair enough.
military. You know what I mean? Like,
It's
yeah,
different. I don't consider Baver's Prime like an Optimus Prime, and that's just because I have my own opinions and ideas of what Optimus Prime should do, and should act like. But
yeah, you
yeah,
know, the actor who plays Optimus Prime. I saw an interview where he said the same thing. Where
yeah,
he's like, that's it's a little dark for Optimus, don't you guys
yeah,
think? And it's like, and I get his hesitancy to want to play those kinds of roles because like that doesn't feel like Optimus. But
yeah.
I was thinking, like, in a real world scenario, I could see where Optimus would be a little more lethal in a war situation.
I think if you watch Transformers Prime, I think you see what Baver's Prime is supposed to be,
I
and it's a little bit different. And I much prefer that rendition
yeah.
of Optimus to the movies. But yeah, you just see it. He's not like that. He's very much a kind person who is an actions speak louder than words. There's multiple times where he will forgive a Decepticon because they switch sides. I think there's an episode where Blitzwing does that, and he Octane even. There's a couple times.
Yeah, Optimus, actually, every version of Optimus, including Primal, has worked with somebody who defected. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Dinobot. Yeah.
Dinobot. He's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
Literally.
In the Unicron trilogy, Starscream is an Autobot for a while. And then in Robots in Disguise, he constantly tries to get Scourge to change sides because he knows.
Like, he's like, there's a part of you that's a good guy, and he knows it. Totally get that. So we're on the same page there. So every version of Optimus has always been about second chances.
Yep.
So the idea that Optimus would like I said, like we've been saying, would even be anybody for their identifications would be nothing. Optimus Primal, as an example, I know he's not Optimus Prime, but he's very much like that character.
Yeah.
He even has Black Arachnia on his team in the later seasons, and she still identifies as a Decepticon.
Yeah.
Or a Predacon, excuse me. And he lets her, he's like, I don't care. So he literally will say Maximals and Predacon. He's like, you know what I mean? Go ahead.
I want to say the only time he doesn't refer to her as a Predacon is in Beast Machines. Yeah, once like everyone's gone.
Yeah, well, at that point she's full Maximal, but that's
yeah.
It's kind of, but then again, after you fought with him long enough, you eventually kind of. The point that I'm getting at is if she chose to still identify as a Pred, he would have honored it. He didn't care exactly because both Primal and Optimus are both like examples of actions speak louder than words.
Yep.
So they're Also, like, am I the only one, just from the Beast Wars standpoint, am I the only one who looks at the Predacons and looks at some of them and go, some of these guys probably could have been good guys if they were just given a chance?
Well,
like
it's funny you mentioned that.
For example.
It's funny you mentioned that because I don't know if you remember this about Beast Wars, but all of the protoforms that Megatron like steals in that show they're all maximal protoforms.
They were. So some of them, yeah, exactly. So you see what I'm talking about. Some of them, I think they were too far gone, like Inferno and Quick Strike as an example. But as we saw with Black Arachnia, Waspinator, I feel like if he'd have been, because he's kind of, no offense, but Waspinator's kind of a chicken. Let's be honest. If Optimus had been like, hey, if you fight for me, you won't get blown up so often, I think Waspinator would have been like, screw you, Megatron.
I think Pterosaur probably could have been, even though he was very much a Starscream type.
Yeah, he was a wannabe Starscream. I could see that.
I think he could have been, but yeah, there's quite a number of protoforms, and you can't talk about protoforms without mentioning the tragedy that is Transmutate.
Oh my goodness! I've seen other versions of Transmutate, and I just think, that could have been so cool.
Neurodivergent icon, Transmutate.
Like
poor girl. Them? I don't know what Transmutate is.
I don't know either. I
think they're female in Transformers Uprising, so that's what I'm going with.
Okay, I'll probably go with they them just because I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they're identified as. Yeah, I don't think they're identified in the show, but I think they're a girl in Uprising.
But there was a Transformers Kingdom toy for Transmutate that came out. Yeah, and I was like, oh, how cool would that have been for Beast Wars? And it was Transmutate turns into a skeletal T-Rex, and also becomes armor and weapons for another robot.
I have all of the versions of that T-Rex except for Transmutate. And there's a fan mode. There's a fan mode that makes them look more cobbled together like Transmutate did in the show.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's super cool.
I just like the idea. Like, I honestly, I think it would have been really cool if Transmutate didn't have such a tragic story, because they were literally in one episode.
Yeah.
And I was like, because one, you know that they were kind of damaged and a little slow, and I think it would have been really cool representation to have like this heroic Transformer who maybe wasn't all there.
Yeah.
You know, because we don't see too many heroic characters like that in fiction, to be honest, that are well written, and I think Transmutate was a missed opportunity there. But I also think having Transmutate be a Transformer that turns into armor for another robot would have also been a really neat concept, you know. But that's just...
I love the fossilizers. They made... Hang on, let me look at my shelf. 1, 2, 3... I want to say 7. I have 7 or 8. They made a lot of them. They made a few. I think I have most of them. But they are so cool. That whole concept of them turning into fossilized skeletons.
And they transform way different than other Transformers.
They pull apart.
Yeah, they pull apart and then like reform into the robot or reform into the dinosaur. It's such a unique...
And they have a combiner too.
Yeah, they can do that too. I've seen that on YouTube. I've seen that they can combine too, and that's just crazy.
They have a straight up combiner head that was put in there by the designers. It's so amazing. And if they redid Beast Wars, which they kind of did when they did the Kingdom Netflix TV show, I think it would have been really, really cool to have seen Transmutate be a part of that team. Not only to include the fossilizer gimmick into the show, but also to give Transmutate a second chance at being in media. Yeah, I think that would have been really cool.
Yeah, because that character was gone way too fast, and I was all like, man, I wanted to see where that was going to go. But like, also, Beast Wars was not afraid to pull at your heartstrings.
No, not at all. I mean, there's the scene where Primal scolds Silverbolt because he's like, is she a Predacon?
And he's like, so was I once.
Yeah.
You know, it's a fan. That's the reason why I like Beast Wars so much. It's definitely for more of the story. I know the animation
100%.
isn't fantastic, but the story was.
Yeah.
And it was a good story, and that's why I like Beast Wars so much. But anyway, speaking of Beast Wars, we got to talk about their real second chance.
Oh yeah, the movie. Hang on, I only have 2.
Yeah. Here we go.
Oh no, he flopped over.
I got Optimus.
I got Cheetor and Skullcruncher.
I got Optimus and Tigatron, and I also got a.
Is that one actually called Tigatron? I thought it was like Silver Fang or something.
No, Silver Fang is the wolf.
That's the armor one, right?
Yeah. This one's a version of Tigatron.
Right on.
I don't know if he'll actually be in the movie, or you know, like if he's like, you know, if he's just a accessory in there. But I'll take it.
The rumor right now is that a lot of the little accessory weapon guys are just fun stuff.
Yeah.
So
because the only ones we've seen are Air Razor, Cheetor, Rhinox, and Primal. That's it.
Yeah, I think it's just them. There's been rumors that maybe Dinosaur Megatron is in it. But
that would be cool.
That would be cool. I think I'd almost rather just prefer like Rat Trap or Dinobot instead. At the same time, I get why they've completely cut out Rat Trap, which I didn't realize until like talking to you that Rat Trap has been missing. He's like the main Maximal that's missing.
Yeah, which is very much like I was a little bit like they swapped him for Air Razor. And the only thing that I can think of for that is effectively Air Razor and Rat Trap if I remember correctly in the Beast Wars show, they kind of served the same purpose. They were the espionage robots because they were the smaller ones.
So I can't speak on that. I haven't seen a lot of Beast Wars.
Yeah, I recently, like I want to say last year, like rewatched them all.
Yeah.
But anyway, point being, Rat Trap was like the espionage guy. He was good at making traps, and and him and Rhinox would work on the weapons for like the base and stuff like that. And Air Razor was also espionage, and she was like she was like, you know, the eyes in the sky type thing.
Yeah,
you know? that was her role. So they kind of served the same purpose. It's just, you know, Rat Trap was on the ground, she was on the sky. So I feel like effectively they just like, well, okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and have the female robot. So we have so it's not just a sausage fest.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I think every team in the movie has at least one like girl robot. They have
Yep.
because RC's on the Autobot side. You
Hmm.
got Air Razor, and then for the Terracons, there's Nightbird.
Yeah, there you go. So
So,
everybody's gonna have at least one chick in the group. Also, there's gonna
yep,
be a female
token
human.
female. Oh yeah,
Sadly, there's gonna be a female human because I remember the thing where she's like looks at RC and she's all like,
yeah,
"This isn't real. This isn't real. Oh shit, this is real."
yeah. That RC design is so clean. It's such a good RC.
I do like that, especially the Bumblebee movie did start a good trend for that. I think because these guys look a lot more like their comic booky counterparts.
Oh, except for Wheeljack.
Doesn't he?
Which
Well, he's got the face right and the ear things right.
he doesn't have the ears.
He doesn't have his ears?
People have said that he has the ears, that his glasses flip out and do the ear things, but he doesn't have his mouth plate. In the fandom, we've started calling him Pablo. He turns into a van that says TV Pablo on the side, so that's why his name's Pablo.
No, Wheeljack's supposed to be a medical vehicle.
No, that's Ratchet.
Oh, that's
Wheeljack
Ratchet?
turns into a sports car, of all things.
Oh, maybe I.
He's like the Rhinox of G1.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I got that's where I got confused because in the Transformers video game I played the mobile game, he's part of the medical class.
Oh yeah, because he's an engineer.
Yeah, that's where I got confused because that's where the confusion came in because I'm like, oh, he's a medical robot. Oh, duh. There we go. That's the confusion there, especially with
he's straight up like a mad scientist. Like the Dinobot, he builds the Dinobots because he's like, dinosaurs are cool.
Dinosaurs are cool. That's why, yeah, it worked. You got me. Grimlock's the only one from G1 that I have is because the Dinobots were the only ones that I really liked.
If Grimlock wasn't further away, I'd show off how massive he is, but he's too far.
Grimlock is really cool. I also want to, at some point, I want to get like the core class, like of all the.
Oh, the dinos? Yeah. They do the Volcanicus thing?
Maybe. It might seem silly, but I really like the smaller robots. That's why I picked up the dollar store version.
Oh, yeah.
It's just because, like, he's not that big. And I like that's also why, like, you see it's very prevalent in the Transformers I did pick to get because they're all, like, smaller. They're not big.
I mean, I'm not going to diss you. One of my favorite, one of my go-to desk toys right now is this little guy. This guy is a Micromaster.
Oh, there we go.
So he's like a Matchbox-sized car, and his name is Big Daddy. And I loved him so much. There was a Walmart exclusive back in the day at Wally World, and I tracked it. I found it at a convention recently.
Oh, you got the bigger one.
So, and the cool part is the bigger one has these guns, and there's a little 5mm hole on the little one, so I can totally like mini-con himself to himself.
Oh my
and then
God.
On top of that, this has a little 5mm peg right there, and the legs flip out and spins around, and now it's a gun. So I can have Big Daddy holding Big Daddy
as
a gun.
I've been seeing people do that with the Beast Wars things, like Rhinox holding Rhinox.
That's what I have going on kind of over here too, with the Cheetor and the not Cheetor.
Yeah. That's okay. I wonder if they'll actually do that for the Beast War, or the Rise of the Beast movie. Like if they'll have like Cheetor turn into a weapon at some point for Optimus Primal.
That would be so. There's a character in the core class toy line called Freezer, who's a Terracon, and supposedly he doesn't transform in the movie, is what the toy designer was saying, which means that his alt modes are completely made up. But he turns into like a turret, a gun for the new Scourge, and then he turns into like a canopy for the back of Scourge's vehicle. So it makes me wonder if maybe like the weaponizer thing will be a mechanic in this movie.
Yeah. Because that's something that we haven't really seen too much of in the Transformers movies. I mean, like we've seen beast modes, we've seen Transformers who have multiple alt modes.
Yep.
Like that mini-con in the first Transformers movie. I mean, that thing was like, it was an AirPod, it was a toaster, it was a boom box. It was
Drift in the third one, I think. Maybe it's the fourth one. I don't know. Drift turns into a Bugatti and a helicopter.
Yeah. That's the one that has like a bird face, right?
He's the one with the stereotypically Japanese accent.
Okay. Okay, never mind then.
Yeah, he's
I'm thinking
like
of a
blue or
different
red, depending which movie he's in.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like a different. I'm thinking of a different robot then. But yeah, like also the Decepticons were really like their mini cons like seemed to turn into a lot of things at the. You know what I
Yeah.
mean, like they were all espionage bots basically. So they were like, oh, I turned into this machine and then this tiny machine, and
Oh, and yeah, Laserbeak in the one movie,
that's
Dark
the
of the
one
Moon.
I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Laserbeak's the
Yeah.
one I got confused with.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Also, we're completely forgetting like the most iconic triple changers, Dropkick and Shatter, from the Bumblebee movie. Just completely blanked on them. But yeah, the two Decepticons in that movie are both triple changers.
Yeah, that's another.
Presumably
Gimmick.
anything changers.
Yeah, that's another gimmick that we've like just Transformers has so many. Like they got the different alt modes. They've even got ones that look human.
Pretenders.
Pretenders,
Yay, we
yeah,
love them.
We only got one, but you know.
Yeah. And
in
she
the
was
movies.
weird. She was weird.
She tasted like motor oil.
Oh yeah. You know, one of my favorite gimmicks. Hang on, let me grab him. Let me grab one. One of my favorite gimmicks is this one. So normal looking robot, right? Normal guy. Until I grab him and I pull his head off.
Uh-huh.
And then I take his head and I flip it, and there's a little robot.
Oh, no. What is that supposed to be again? Like a
It's a headmaster.
A headmaster? Oh my goodness. That doesn't
Oh.
make any sense to me either. That was like, what's that? Isn't the storyline like the headmasters are like regular people that turn themselves into the head of another robot?
It depends on if you're English or Japanese.
I can't
Depends
remember.
who you ask.
Yeah. I just remember the basics talking about it one time, and I was like,
Sometimes it's people, sometimes it's a little transformer that just has a bigger body. Sometimes it's other stuff.
yeah, sometimes it's a transformer whose brain has been put in a smaller body, but they're still a transformer, so they become the head of their old body.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it just
they
depends.
got all sorts. Transformers has some crazy stuff in it.
They got some weird lore.
That's probably why we like it so much. Is because they've got so much versatility with it.
You want another fun fact about Beast Wars and RC?
All right, fire away.
In IDW 1.0, RC is canonically Rat Trap's aunt
Oh my goodness.
and Galvatron's sister.
What? That makes no sense. How do you even have
I don't
family
know.
in a robot society? That doesn't make sense.
That's been a thing since the originals. Because, despite the Seekers all looking the same, none of them are related. But Sideswipe and Sunstreaker are brothers, canonically, in Generation 1. They're like the first Transformer siblings.
Which is just like it's still baffled. Like so, yeah. Again, it just kind of compounds to the thing we were talking about earlier. Why are you mad about Nightshade being a they them? We have robots that are canonically family in a species that doesn't reproduce.
It doesn't do the
sexually.
thing, you know.
They don't do the thing. They
Yeah,
don't do the
so-
thing. In a species, it's just strange.
Could you imagine being like Optimus Prime and you see like Daniel's girlfriend come in or wife or whatever and she's pregnant and Optimus Prime is like sitting there like in the room, he's like watching like a live stream or whatever and he's like, oh god, they come out of them?
Just being like,
Could you imagine? He's like, Daniel, this is amazing. I'm glad that your son is born, but I never want to ever see that again. I can't believe you've made me witness this horror. Could you imagine?
Oh my god, that'd be fucking brilliant. Oh my goodness, I feel like Bumblebee, even if Bumblebee couldn't talk, would have a much bigger reaction. Like you just hear, like,
100%.
You hear like the R2D2 scream as he just like falls out off of the hospital
Bolts out the
window,
room,
like,
yeah.
Oh god, they come out of each other. And depending on continuity, they come out of a silver like metal slime goop in the core of their planet.
Yep.
Technically, I guess by that logic, they could all be siblings, I suppose.
I mean, yeah, fair enough if you think about it like that.
Yeah, but then again, that's Transformers lore for you. It's wonky, it's wacky. Is there anything like and Scourge I haven't seen too much about Scourge. I know he's the big bad for the Beast Machine.
He is the big bad boy.
Yeah, they've decided to make him the big bad. Scourge, in one continuity, and the one that I think I'm most familiar with, he was a dragon, right? In one of his transformations.
Yeah, in the Unicron trilogy, he is the leader of the Beast planet, and he turns into like a 3-headed dragon.
There you go. Okay,
Yes.
so that kind of actually does make sense, I feel like, because like I think, and Megatron has a dragon transformation too.
A few different Megatrons.
Yeah, a few of them. You're right, absolutely. I think even the one where we were talking about earlier, where that version of Scourge, that's just a evil copy of Optimus.
Yeah, that Megatron turns into a dragon and like 10 other things.
Yeah, that talk about being the multi-changing master right there. That Megatron.
I think the toy was promoted as having 12 modes.
Like, Jesus Christ.
It turned into like a bat, an elephant, an ostrich.
Oh, jeez.
A hand.
Why not? At this
Why
point,
not?
Right?
Why not? It turned into anything.
Yeah, it wouldn't be shocked if it also had a gun mode like the original Megatron.
I'm trying to remember if it did.
If it did,
I don't have Car Robots Gigatron, so I can't confirm.
I don't know.
That's one I don't have.
But
I wish I did.
But like seriously, like anyway, the point that I was getting at is like from the one version of Scourge that I saw, he was like a red and yellow dragon from the Beast Planet. And I'm over here going, yeah, that guy would be a perfect Beast Wars era villain. I always did think that.
Yep. But then it's not him. It's this one. Closer to this one.
Yeah, it's closer to that one. It's so strange.
But he's working for Unicron like the original Scourge.
Yeah. They just like, I'm gonna take this piece from that guy and this piece from that guy. We're gonna get a whole new version of the same guy.
Yeah. He's going to be called the same thing. He's going to have a little bit of everyone because we put him in the blender.
Has there been
this is our Scourge milkshake.
Yet? Has there been?
There is a Studio Series leader class. Yes.
Okay. Do you know what he turns into?
Turns into a truck. Turns into a truck, just like this one. Just like this one.
So wait a minute. This Scourge is a Decepticon, not a Predacon.
He's a Terrorcon.
Oh, a Terrorcon. Okay, so that's
he's a new faction.
He's a new faction. Which, truth be told, they've done that before. They've also had, they've done. I know for a fact, or they've had like the Insecticons originally, were their own faction.
The whole Quintesson faction.
Yeah.
So Heralds of Unicron's faction.
There's.
Who else do I got? Who's down here? The Wreckers technically kind of are their own faction because sometimes there's a couple Decepticons on their team.
Yeah. So yeah, it's very much like Terracons, and then like I know in the original Terracons they were all monsters. They all turned into monsters. That was the thing, right?
Oh, Dip! Yeah, the Abominus. Yeah, the Combiner.
Yeah, they were combiners.
Yes.
They were all monsters, and the only one I remember specifically is the two-headed lizard one. But
the yellow one or the white one?
The yellow one, I want to say.
Ripper Snapper.
That sounds familiar. Yep.
That might be. I might be wrong on that name.
It sounds accurate.
I know. I don't know all the combiner names.
to be fair, when it comes,
it's okay. No one does.
Yeah.
No one.
To
does.
be fair, nobody.
There was a meme. Yeah, there was a trend going around where it was like, oh yeah, I bet you can't name all of X Combiner's pieces.
It's like, you're absolutely right. I cannot.
I can name Bruticus's parts, and I was gonna say Superions because I have him too, but I can name Monstructors too. I can name him.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do two. I can do two.
Yeah, I can't even do one, to be really honest. Can
you do Magnaboss? He's only a 3-piecer. Can you on the spot? Can you do it?
Magnaboss has Silverbolt. He has the lion and the elephant transformers, whose names escape me. See,
it's Ironhide is one of them.
Okay, it's a version of Ironhide. It's an elephant.
Yeah,
that's right.
Silverbolt, Ironhide, and Prowl is who it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
And two of those, I guarantee you, were just named that so that Hasbro didn't
trademarks.
have to lose their trademark. I guarantee
yep.
it.
100%. You want to see trademark names? There's a dude in the Unicron trilogy who's named Wheeljack because he's named Wheeljack, but he looks like Sideswipe, but he couldn't be called Sideswipe because someone else who was Sideswipe looks like someone else, and then so they put Wheeljack on a guy who looked like Downshift.
That's so confusing.
Yeah, it's really, really dumb.
Oh my goodness, Transformers lore.
We love it.
Okay, speaking on the new Transformers, the Rise of the Beast ones, have you seen like one of the newer trailers where they have like if they're fighting like an army of like Scorponok?
Yeah, which we had a toy leaked for him, and everyone was like, "Is he in the movie or is he not?" Because he's in the 2007, and this was before we knew about the boy being in the movie. Yeah. And so we're just like, that's weird because this movie could still technically count towards 2007 because it takes place in the 90s. And then Nope. Once we saw that the boy was in it, we know
Yeah.
it's not. And I don't want to totally spoil it, even though it's in the trailer.
Yeah.
I know not everyone watches trailers, so I don't want to say it just to ruin it.
Are we talking about Mirage?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about the thing that eats planets.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to spoil it. I just couldn't remember
That's okay.
which robot we were talking about because I was.
We could talk about him. We could talk about the fact he's in the movie and looks correct.
Yeah, actually this is going to be interesting because like Bumblebee has always been like the centerpiece of all the Transformers media, and now where it seems like Mirage is about to take that spot, at least for one movie.
That should be Jazz. It shouldn't be Mirage. They should have named him Jazz.
But he does
so
do
much
the
like
Mirage
Jazz.
thing, which I think was his thing in the old continuity, right?
So Mirage's old thing was turning invisible, and then at some point, I guess it became holograms, which was Hound's thing. But
okay, so this is another thing where they took one thing, another robot's thing, and gave it to another robot who actually looks like this robot from the original.
So, kind of. I think Mirage has been doing the hologram thing for a little while now. I think it's just one of those things that someone did it once, and they were like, "Yep, Mirage can do it too."
Yeah, and it does kind of make sense with his name, to be fair, because Mirage is an illusion. So, but yeah, I'm and who is he? Who's voicing this Mirage again? That famous rapper, right? Comedian.
Is it Pete Davidson? Is that who it is?
Yes.
Okay.
Pete Davidson.
Yes. I actually don't hate that choice. I have Mirage on my desk right now. I have my classics Mirage. I'm a big Mirage fan.
Okay, there we go.
So, and he's a really cool character in the original cartoon because he's a Decepticon who turned Autobot. So hey, another look at that.
Another example.
Another example is Mirage. He does it before the show happens, and he's one of those characters that Cliffjumper is very wary of, and even Ironhide to a degree is like, I don't know if I always trust Mirage, and blah 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 blah. But he's a really cool character. He has some really cool moments, and I think that this version of Mirage is shaping up to be kind of like a more jokester. And again, that's kind of the reason I think it should have been Jazz, is because one, he also turns into a Porsche. He turns into a Porsche. Okay. Which Mirage is not a Porsche. He's an F1 car.
Yeah, in the Earth Wars game, that's what my Mirage turns into.
Yeah, he's an F1 car. So, and then I also think that the mannerisms that they're giving to this Mirage are more akin to Jazz. So I think they should have just named him Jazz, and everyone would have been like, all right, that looks like Jazz enough, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's okay.
It is what it is.
I mean, for all we know, this could have been another one of those examples where they had to do it to keep the name or something.
That's also true. Maybe there was something. Maybe there's a reason they can't use Jazz. Maybe they're still trying to see if they can work 2007 into the movie or something like that. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we do have Maximals now involved, which does kind of imply timey-wimey. So
okay, I was hoping you were going to mention this. So, to help confirm your little theory right there, on the back of Scourge's box, it says something like, fight at the museum over transwarp technology, which everyone bid on because they're like, transwarp is Beast Wars for time travel.
Mm-hmm.
So, the consensus is that Scourge fucked something up. And the Beast Wars characters are here, not because they want to be here, but because they have to be here, and that's why the Beast Wars characters are aware of Optimus Prime, but Optimus doesn't seem aware of them.
Yeah,
because he pulls the gun on Primal.
Or the gun. Yes.
And he goes, "I'm not your enemy, Prime."
Yeah, exactly. Because he's like, I'm the leader of the Maximals in the future.
Yep, exactly. So, and that would also kind of like, because here's the thing: if it is timey-wimey BS, that means it could still be connected to 2007, because that means it could be Unicron from either the past or the future coming to destroy himself, according to the 5th movie.
Right. Of course, they only implied that it was Unicron. For all they know, it could be Primus under there. For all we know, we don't have.
Well, Primus is Cybertron.
Is he? Is he?
Yeah. Primus is almost always Cybertron, unless he's wrong. Do I have wrong on standby? Yeah, there he is. I have Tiny God inside a prison.
Tiny God inside a prison.
There he is. There's Transformers God.
puny god. Sorry, I just
There he is. He lives inside my Quintesson.
I don't know why. I just had the Hulk from Avengers come in my head. Puny god.
Yeah. So my buddy, he texted me the other day. He's like, "Oh, you have a Unicron. Do you have a Primus?" I was like, "Yeah." I sent him a picture of Wrong. He was like this big, and Unicron's like a 1.5 feet tall. He's not that big, but he's big.
But yeah, but like you see where I like for the continuity of the movie, they could go that route. I don't know.
Exactly.
If they'll go that route.
I'm gonna be upset if that's what it is now, and I just called it like off the dome.
Like we just took a shot in the dark here, and it's like, oh,
it's like, oh, there it is.
I don't know. Of course, like we don't know like I said, we don't know. For all we know, they could be doing all sorts of crazy things. I mean, it's Transformers lore. There's really like that's another thing, by the way. One of the bigoted guys I was arguing with, who got more offended that I called him a fake fan than I called him a bigot, which is really funny. It's just, which he may not be a fake fan. He might know everything there is about Transformers, but I was like, you're lying about Optimus, so in my opinion, fake fan.
Yeah.
But anyway, point being, he seemed to get really angry about being called a fake fan, way more than being called a bigot, which I'm like, bro, your priorities need fixing. Anyway, that was one of the things he brought up to me. It was like, it's not canon. If it's not voiced by this actor, it's not canon.
Oh my god. Okay, there's so many different continuities. Nothing's canon. Nothing counts. Pick one. That can be your favorite.
Yeah.
I literally canon. Every one of my figures that I have, I make up a reason that they're here. I make up a reason that they're on the shelf. I have a whole shelf of Autobot leaders. There's Hot Rod standing next to Rodimus Prime on my shelf. Why? Because who cares? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's supposed. Yeah, there's some people who just take something that's supposed to be fun and they make it a little too serious.
Yeah, it's like there was a dude. I posted a picture of Cybertron Override, who another case of gender swapping between languages. Override is a guy in Japan. They're a girl in America, and so I posted some pictures of the new Override toy because I was like, oh, cool. I had this toy as a kid. They made a new one. I bought it. Blah 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 blah. It looks super cool. Some dude left some pretty gross, frankly, comments underneath of it, and I called him out and I said, "It's a kid's toy, bro."
That's a kid's toy.
I was like, it's a toy made for children. Please stop saying those things.
Yeah, like
you can think that on your own. Do it in your own time. Don't comment that on my Instagram page.
Yeah, right. I don't need to know what you. I don't need to know your dirty thoughts when you're thinking about RC either.
Yeah, please go away.
Just
please,
that would
leave my page.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Twitter doesn't have that delete function where you can just delete a comment. Like, unfortunately.
Yep.
But then again, I guess nobody would interact if the person who owns that page could just delete their comments.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the retweet feature would be the way we'd argue. Can't delete it now, asshole, because it's on my page.
How about you delete your post and see what happens?
People do that though on Twitter, though. Funny enough.
Yeah.
And then just like you retweet your response to them, and then they delete the post. And it's like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I'm like, bro.
I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Yeah. Man, Twitter is a funny place. It's a hellscape, but sometimes it's a funny place. Hey, look. To be fair, when we're talking about social media, all of it is a cesspool. It's all a cesspool. There's bigots everywhere. There's hateful assholes everywhere. And the only consolation you get is the fact that there are usually more people commenting good stuff against those bigoted people. It's the only solace I get. Like, for example, I know that one guy who's really mad at me right now, that I call it, like, he's got no likes on any of his tweets. And I have at least, like, 2, 3, 5, depending on which tweet it is and how high it is in the thread. But I have at least one more than he does on any given one of them. So
yeah.
So I take solace knowing that people like us outnumber them.
Yeah. It's really sad whenever, like, because June, I believe it's June. It might have been a different month, but I'm pretty sure June's Pride Month. And every month, every time June rolls around, Transformers posts the Rainbow Pride Autobot symbol and says something. That's what they do. And it makes perfect sense in my opinion. I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of representation in Transformers. There's literally trans in the name. Makes sense that they'd be like, you know what? Let's get this community on our side. And in my opinion, it doesn't hurt the brand to support things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it really hurts me as a fan whenever I see that posts go up and you check the comments and it's all a bunch of like hate speech and bullying and just overall a bad time in that images comment section on Instagram. And it's like just get out of the community. It's not going to get better for you, because guess what, there's always going to be people like me who on a top 10 Transformers relationship list puts Chrome Dome and Rewind right at the top because they are the best. Like it's never, you're not, I'm sorry dude, you're outnumbered. There's too many people who I know. There was a dude who I knew, he was in the Transformers group, and he said something kind of homophobic. I was like, I thought you liked, and I was like, you were talking about how great Chrome Dome and Rewind was the other day. And he goes, yeah, because Rewind's a girl. And I was like, no, do you not know? And he's like, what do you mean? And I had to show him like 4 panels where they used like male pronouns for Rewind. And he goes, oh. And I was like, did I ruin this for you or did I fix it for you? What happened, bro?
I do love stuff like that. Like, it's very much like, oh god, you're such a homophobe, bro. Get over it.
Yeah.
And we also have to deal with this stuff and you and I can relate to this because we also both play Yu-Gi-Oh. It's like it's everywhere, man. And I'm in Power Rangers communities too. People are like, now I've seen some people get a little bit. It's been very like low level mad because like obviously Power Rangers doesn't do like relationships anymore. They don't really do like.
Oh,
like
okay.
Yeah, they stopped doing like very romantic-y stuff after the Zordon era. I don't know why. I think Disney put that rule in there, and then everybody who's had it since just kind of kept it.
Yeah.
So, but they have officially the Green Ranger that's the current Green Ranger. She is canonically has a girlfriend, calls her her girlfriend and everything. But they don't kiss or anything. They just hold hands. But like I said, it's a kid show, so they're probably like, you know. So you give them a little.
Is this in the TV show or is this in like the comic books?
It's in Dino Charge.
Okay, like, so it's in the show. Okay.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and then they're going into like Galaxy something. It's going to be the same group of Rangers, but they're going to get a new set of powers.
They get the upgrade. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to get what they're going to do is they're going to use the next set Rangers Zords. They're not going to use the next set Rangers costumes. They're just going to keep the Dino Charge Rangers. But the point is the Green Ranger is still going to be the Green Ranger in that group, and she is canonically has a girlfriend. Yeah. So I have seen some rumbles about it. There was like, I'm like, wait till you have a full on makeout session with a trans
in the comic book.
In the comic book with a trans Power Ranger. It's gonna make my fucking day watching you get
That's
mad.
Right. Slight side note, because I have a question, because I watched it, and I'm not a Power Rangers guy. I didn't grow up with Power Rangers, didn't watch it or anything, but I watched Once and Forever.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on Once and Forever?
It was very nostalgic.
Okay.
And it did, which is very something like that show was clearly made for people like me who watched the original Mighty Morphin.
Yeah, 100%.
And they expanded on the Mighty Morphin lore.
Yeah.
Which was something that, because there's always been questions about how the Mighty Morphin powers work because they've never been as clearly defined as the other powers. So, like, all right, so for example, in a lot of Power Rangers lore, most morphers, when you use them, right, you're the person who's supposed to be using them, it only works for you.
Yeah.
Period. There's no transferring it. You know, there are exceptions to the rule, like SPD, as an example, like anybody who could pick up the morpher, as long as they did the thing and said the right passcode, it would turn you into that ranger. Yeah. Right. That was just how they did it. But people transferred powers and went up in the ranks all the time, so that's probably why that was left that way. Mm-hmm. So like a B squad ranger that was like, oh, I'm on the B squad, I'm the green one. Well, they could get a promotion, and then now they're the A squad blue ranger, as an example. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's why they left that story arc was like that. But most Rangers, it only worked for whoever it was. So the only way to get around that was to kill them, basically.
Oh.
Yeah, that's one of the Dino Charge Rangers, for example. The Dino Charge Rangers specifically, I remember that was one of the things why they were trying to destroy the Power Rangers is because they bonded to the crystal that was the power source for their morphing, and the only way it would work is if they died. That was the only way to make them unbond. So that's why the bad guy tried to kill them all the time. Now for Mighty Morphin, the added addition to the lore is that yes, anybody can be a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. The rule is that you can't use the powers maliciously, and that's why that Yellow Ranger couldn't morph, because she wanted revenge. She didn't want to protect people, she wanted to avenge her mother.
Yeah, she wanted to beat up those robots.
Exactly. And then when it came time to, when it came time to be a hero and try to
Yeah.
help, the Morpher is like, okay, you get it now, so now we're gonna let you do it. So now that adds to the lore that really anybody could be a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger as long as
Yeah.
you're using it with good intentions.
I will say, like, my first thought going into watching it was, I wonder how they're going to handle the two dead ones.
Oh, with Thai Chang and Jason and
Yeah.
Frank passing.
Yeah.
I
I,
think
I did think that. I was like, maybe JDF is in here because this feels like this could have been filmed before.
it was filmed
Like,
before he passed.
so I was like, he could be in this. And then either maybe he was and then they cut him out, or maybe he just never was in it at all, but it looks like he was never in it at all.
He wasn't never I do know that he was contacted about doing it. He turned it down because he was promoting Legend of the White Dragon, which is his personal movie
Yeah.
that he was working on. It was basically it's going to be like a rated R Power Rangers movie.
Yeah.
Which I really do want to see. I'm very interested in seeing it. But which is, by the way, for those of you at home who are Transformers fans who need a connection, Hasbro owns both these properties.
They have the toy licensing for Power Rangers. Let me phrase it.
They can make shows too, I think.
Oh, did E1 get Power Rangers?
I'm pretty sure they got Power Rangers, they got Transformers, they got GI Joes. They own. Actually, fun fact, they got a lot when they bought it from Saban. They could do VR Troopers and Beetleborgs again too if they want to.
I'll have to see if E1 owns Power Rangers. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, because and people have been talking about trying to talk Hasbro into doing like a their own Marvel Cinematic Universe, but with Power Rangers, Transformers, and GI Joe, and another property they own called Mask, which didn't do very well. But,
Yes.
but yeah,
They could also do Inhumanoids and all these other things that I don't.
yeah.
Yeah. What are they called? Is it Silverhawks? I think. I don't know. There's a whole bunch. I don't want to get into
There's
it.
a bunch of stuff that could actually combine all this stuff into one cohesive universe. In fact, there's even 2 GI Joes that share the last names of Power Rangers, and one that shares, just coincidentally, it has the last name Jones. So, like, if they were to procure Ninja Turtles at some point,
Yeah.
they could.
That's never going to happen. Nickelodeon has that by the.
Nickelodeon will probably never let that go. Although Nickelodeon has worked with Hasbro in the past, they could do like what that company that owns the Spider-Man movies technically does with Marvel.
Well, the other thing is that
do
the
that.
toy rights for Ninja Turtles is owned either by Jakks Pacific or Mattel, who is the biggest competitor with Hasbro.
Yeah,
That's the other problem. You got to think about the toys.
Yeah,
It's all about the toys.
not just the story arc.
Yep.
But yeah, the point that the point that I was getting at is I lost my point, by the way, because I was talking about Power Rangers.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
I just want to hear it from a Power Ranger fan.
Oh yeah. I was gonna tell you. You were asking about the behind the scenes for the nostalgic movie. Okay, so to answer your question, like I said, JDF was reached out to. He declined, and then of course he passed away.
Yep.
So they did make some last minute alterations because they wanted to throw some. That's why at the end it says in honor of.
Yes.
Thai Chang and Jason and Frank. It's just because they wanted to make sure that he was mentioned in there because, he kind of put Power Rangers on the map.
Yeah.
Because you don't really, because he's the one who does all the all the cameos in later seasons and things like
Yep.
that. Him and I think out of everybody who's done cameos from Mighty Morphin, I think him and Johnny Young Bosch have the most. They're the ones.
Which one's? That's the Blue Ranger, right?
Black Ranger. He was the
Black
second.
Ranger. Okay.
He was the second Black Power Ranger, and he plays Adam Park. And he was in the thing. He was the other person in the spacesuit next to Aisha, the black woman. They were in that. SPA,
Okay. He was the cameo character.
Yeah, he was the two.
Okay.
Yeah, those were both other Mighty Morphin Rangers. They were cameoed in this one.
Okay.
They were in space. They were making a Power Rangers SPD reference. That's why their tags say SPA, Space Patrol Alpha instead of Space Patrol Delta.
Yeah.
You get where that's going. So the idea there is that's why that's the reference they were making.
Okay.
But yeah, and I think also David Yost, the actor who plays Billy, was also the director for this too. So I know
that is the Blue Ranger, right?
Yes, and he's
okay.
Yeah, and
okay.
he's the reason why I think we even got this in the first place. I think he put it all together. I'm pretty sure.
I was gonna say he seemed very impassioned during the watching the movie.
Yeah,
it seemed like he was having a good time.
Yeah, and also I do like the actress they picked to play the Trini's daughter. whose name escapes me at the moment. But she seemed like she was very excited, and there's also been like some set stuff leaked of her with the new Power Rangers, so maybe we'll see her mixed in with the...
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think so too. And also another thing that adds to the lore of this that is just kind of something I think could be neat for Mighty Morphin to do is that they can... Because clearly we can see that the power can be transferred to the Mighty Morphin kids, so when the actors are too old, you know what I mean? And like, you know... Maybe they're dead, or then maybe they're, you know, they've passed on, or maybe they, you know, maybe they just can't physically do it anymore. So, you know, maybe they can just do, they can show this new character, and they can be like, oh, I'm the son of Jason, and I have his morpher, you know. That guy can do it, and it just kind of would be a way to kind of keep the Mighty Morphin legacy there, even though they'll probably never be the primary Power Rangers again, unless they make them into a movie, which could happen. They could. Yeah. The 2017 movie gave us a lot of information because they did some good things, they did some not so good things. They can learn and make something really good, I think.
They need to try that again. I think if they just stop trying to make it a kids movie, I think they could go places.
That's always been my Power Rangers problem with all of their movies. Turbo with being kind of the exception because they actually got some decent fight scenes in those ones. But in the original 1990s movie and in the 2017 movie, they shared that same problem that they need to stop treating it like it's a kid's movie and treat it like it's a PG-13 movie.
Yep.
The fight scenes, the violence is the point. Marvel embraced it. DC's embraced it. It's time for Hasbro to embrace it. Yep. And then they'll have a successful Power Rangers movie. Anyway,
I was going to say Transformers did.
Transformers
heavily.
Did. Hell yeah.
It threw it off the bridge. It grabbed it by the face and ripped it in half.
Yeah, exactly. Power Rangers could do the same thing. Like, they even have robot villains, like straight up. They have machine villains.
The other thing is you could totally treat it as a monster movie too.
Yeah, true. They have kaijus and everything.
Yeah, exactly. You could do so much fun stuff with it.
Oh yeah. By the way, it'd be really easy to do a multiverse or whatever, or a like a cinematic universe with Transformers in them. It'd be really easy. I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all know some stuff that I've been talking to a friend of mine about doing because I've been thinking about writing it as a fan fiction just for the hell of it. Mm-hmm. But all right, Alpha 5 could be rewrote as a Cybertronian. Super easy. Because Alpha 5 was originally created by what's he called, an Edenoian or something like that. He's basically with the character Mask Rider, but Hasbro doesn't have the rights to that character anymore. In fact, we don't know. Nobody knows who has the rights to that character. Whether Saban still has it, whether Disney got it from them, nobody knows. But just the Mask Rider. So
Kamen Rider hasn't had an American dub because no one knows who owns it.
Yeah, I think they have Dragon Knight. They have Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, but they don't have Masked Rider, which was like the 90s.
The Showa ones, the Showa era ones.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the one that is in limbo right now. But I think Hasbro does have Kamen Rider, like Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. They have that.
You know what? There's the new one too. I think that got imported too. The yellow guy. He got imported.
So there you go. So but you see where it would be really easy for them to just they could easily change Alpha's backstory for him to be a Cybertronian. And what would be really cool is what they could do is his Alpha 5 form that we see him in, that could be his alt mode. He's an Elturian assistance droid. That's that would be his alt mode. And then it'd be really cool, I think, if he turned into a Minicon or something and was an actual combat machine. I don't know. That's just what I'm going off of. I think it'd be a really cool change to Alpha 5, make him this, I only pretend to be helpless. And then his eye would go red or something, and next thing you know, he's like a you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'd be like him on his disc head on top of Optimus Prime's body. Sorry, that's where my brain goes with it, but you know, something along those lines, or an Iron Man body would be even funnier to me. I would totally go that route just to troll Marvel. If I was part of that team, only instead of the circle, it'd just be the Power Rangers lightning bolt that Alpha 5 has.
I don't know if you've seen them. Hang on, I have an example. Give me a second. They're right here. So, they're loud. Love it that they're loud. They're called the collaborative figures. I don't know if you've seen these.
I think I've seen the one where there was a transformer that was a Ghostbuster.
This is the Ghostbuster.
Yes!
The Ghostbusters car. I only have a few. The other ones I have the Jurassic Park ones.
Oh, that's
So
great.
the car that gets stepped on by the Tyrannosaurus and the Tyrannosaurus herself. Oh, and Dracula's right there too.
There you
There's
go.
Dracula, the other one. Those are the ones I have. The Back to the Future car is also one. But yeah, like it's Hasbro's been reaching out. The Top Gun jet is one. Who else? Who else got a Transformer? Tonka got one. Trying to
Why
think who
not?
else got. Yeah,
And
like they could do it so
they-
easily for like, oh, the GI Joes are getting some.
Yeah. And think about it, Hasbro owns GI Joe and Transformers, so it would be
Yep.
really easy for them to like make movie content. And now they've got Power Rangers on top of that. And like I said, there is some random GI Joe with the last name Scott. And
Yep.
I'm like, we make him related to the Red Ranger, and boom, now there's our in for the GI Joes. And
It'd also be so easy for them to go, oh yeah, John Cena from the Bumblebee movie. Yeah, he's a GI Joe.
yeah, it would be
It's not
so
Sector
easy.
7. It's John Cena. John Cena's a GI Joe. Yep.
Yeah, and
So
GI Joes,
easy.
yeah, and the Joes are like Joes is like a nickname in their own movie. They talked about it like they're like well, they weren't technically Joes. That was just what they called themselves.
Yep.
So it was like, yeah, let him be like MI6 or whatever is secretly. That's what they call themselves. You know, that's their nickname.
Yep.
They all like what don't our real military guys to have nicknames like that?
Yeah.
Like Devil
So back
Dogs
in
or something?
GI Joe comes from World War II. Whenever you would get drafted, you were a government issue Joe.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
That's where it comes from Vietnam and World War II.
And there you go. So that's where that comes from.
Yeah,
But
and then
like,
on top of that, oh, sorry.
no, you go ahead.
GI Joes and Transformers crossed over and still do all the time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
literally, who is it? Skywarp, the black and purple version of Starscream.
Mm-hmm.
He's part of GI Joe right now. That like canonically, he's off with the GI Joes. And then Mask. There's characters. There was a GI Joe who went and became a Mask rally car driver.
There you go.
So like literally, and then there was a thing where these people were going, if Hasbro wanted to do a cinematic universe, it'd be so easy to go, GI Joe was John Cena. John Cena is a GI Joe. The Transformers, there you go. There's the end right there. Bumblebee. You do a movie about John Cena being a GI Joe. You introduce another character, and maybe one of those characters gets his hands on some Cybertronian tech. Mask,
There you go. There we go.
because the cars transform, but
And then
they're not
and
like
then
sentient.
and then like I said, the Power Rangers, their in
Yeah.
is that they're already interconnected to tons of different kinds of aliens.
Yep.
One, so you got the alien thing where with Transformers that kind of match. Like you could even have
Yep.
a whole movie where like there's a war between Cybertron and the Machine Empire, which
Yep.
is a big bad Power Rangers, and then. You know, like I said, and G.I. Joes, like I said, they just happen to have a Joe with the last name Scott, and Power Rangers do too. So it could easily work. You just make those two guys, you just change their backstory to where they're related, make Alpha 5 a Cybertronian, boom, done. It all fits perfect into place.
You can work Nemesis Prime in there somewhere too.
Absolutely.
Because he's like an
You
evil
can-
clone of Optimus. Just work him in there somewhere. There you
Oh,
go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Zed and Rita made evil clones of the Power Rangers all the time. That could
There
be
you
their
go.
work with Megatron. They literally
Yep.
could be like, hey, we'll double your forces.
It'd
We'll
be
make
so
evil
easy.
clones of your enemies, and boom. That would be...
Yeah.
Oh, the drones. That could be something there. They, what if, because they could use the same technique they used to make evil clones of Rangers. Why not because Megatron is used in various versions of himself, used drones, which are operated by one Decepticon or one Predacon or one Viacon or whatever.
Yeah.
So the idea there is, like, okay, maybe Rita Repulsa and Zed are the ones who who make the copies.
Yep.
You know, so
Yeah,
that would...
It's fairly easy to work Transformers and like Joe, because once you work Transformers into it, working GI Joe in there is so easy.
Yeah. Because
It's the easiest
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, because Transformers works with like they work with military guys all the time in multiple canons.
Yeah.
So, and then of course, like I said, like with Power Rangers, you know, the Transformers are aliens, and they
Yep.
work along with the alien aspect.
Yep.
Honestly, although if they did this, they have to have a movie where GI Joes and Power Rangers have a fight. It just has to happen. I just need to see it.
You could honestly do Alien Rangers. You could do the Power Rangers are straight up like they're not Earthling teens, they're alien
the
guys
Aquitar
with their own
Rangers,
mechas. Yeah. They're alien dudes with their own mechas, and they come or
Yeah.
some BS. Like you could work that in. There you go. That's how you do it. Just make them a different
I just
full
want to
on
see. Look, I
alien
just want to
race.
see some soldiers get their butts kicked by a Power Ranger because I think it'd be hilarious. Not even lethally. I don't need. They don't need to die. I just need to watch them get their butts kicked. That's it. That's all I want. Anyway, sorry, we went off a little on a
You're
tangent.
way
there.
off.
Way off on a tangent there. Well, I guess we can use this to kind of lead into the last thing because we've talked about Rise of the Beast. You answered some questions about Scourge, which I was hoping he was going to be a dragon, honestly, but you know,
He still might be. Who knows?
I mean, who knows? The movie
Everything's
hasn't
in
come
the
out.
air.
I mean, they're obviously using like Scorponok drones. I wonder if the scorpions that we're seeing them destroy in the trailer. I wonder if those are actually going to be drones or like because they've done that before with Predacons.
Yeah.
You know, they've been like drones where they're not like sentient; they're just kind of like controlled by
Things.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if they do that, my question is Scorponok the leader of those drones, or are they just all Scorponok drones? You know.
So we have a character. His name's Gnaw, right? And I have two different Gnaws on my desk right now. He's the Sharkticon.
Yes.
But Gnaw doesn't look any different than a Sharkticon. But for some reason, the Alicon is just named Alicon. So it's like, and Gnaw isn't like the leader of the Sharkticons. He's just a random guy in the Sharkticon. So it's like, is this Scorponok drone thing? Is this another Gnaw Sharkticon situation, or is this?
Is he going to be his own character, and these are just drones that look like him, like they did in Beast Machines?
Yeah, are these like Seekers? Like, you know, like where there's like Starscream, who's a Seeker, and he's like the big head honcho, and you know, you got a couple other ones that matter, but then the rest of them are kind of like whoever.
Yeah, they're just like they just look like him but they're green for some reason. Yeah.
Hey, leave Acid Storm alone.
I'm just using it as an example. Just an example. They could be any color, to be fair.
Oh, another Transformer in Cyberverse. In one episode, Acid Storm is a boy. In another episode, Acid Storm is a girl. Another
Transformer confirmed.
They never say anything about it. It's just one of those things that happens. They just swapped the character's gender between episodes.
Why not? I mean, come on. Half of the time, the Autobots, they introduce a new Autobot and have no explanation of where they've been.
All of season 2 called.
Yeah, literally, I remember that. That was a thing. Like they were just like Sea Spray. Don't know where he comes from. Don't have a clue. He just pops
I love
up.
Sea Spray so much.
As an example.
I love the season 2 mini bots. They're my favorite.
Yeah. All right, so this will lead to the last topic I had written down because I know we've been talking for about an hour here, and you and I could talk for forever. So
fair enough.
Because we eat sleep this stuff, you know.
Yeah.
The last thing that I want to talk about is the use of alt modes in combat, and that is something I've noticed is in fairly new Transformers media. Because beforehand, you only, like when in G1, for example, I only ever saw this if the robot was an animal or a combat vehicle.
Yeah,
but
like a tank or something.
Yeah, exactly, a tank or a jet, like something that already had weapons. They would do that. They would fight, but they would fight in those modes. But if they didn't have that, they didn't do it. And the Transformers movies and a lot of this new media, like I saw it with Megatron, right? In that fight scene you and I were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Megatron does it where he uses the wing blades of his helicopter mode to cut the other robot that's fighting Prime.
Yeah. We kind of see that in Transformers Animated as well, where Bumblebee, much like in the Bumblebee movie, he'll like half transform his feet to turn them back into tires. Mm-hmm. And does Prowl do that too? Prowl might also do it again in Transformers Animated. But Animated was also known for doing weird stuff like that.
Well, also like in Earthspark, one of the things that I saw was like Optimus does it in combat too. Like he does because he's a little shorter as a vehicle than he is as a robot. So one of the things he does to dodge an attack from an opponent is he turns into the truck, then transforms back and like stabs them in the back with his power axe or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, oh man, that's gnarly. I wouldn't have thought about that. But beforehand, like I said, the only time I'd ever really seen that was, and they also made a point about it in Beast Wars a few times, how the animal was just as combative as the robot. But,
yeah.
Like because there was a whole thing where like the Megatron of that series came with this idea where like, oh, I'll leave you guys stuck in your beast modes, and then you'll go crazy and turn into animals. And Tigertron spends 90% of his time as a tiger. So he teaches the other ones how to like deal with it. and then you in the combat scene you watch them transform from animals back into robots and back and forth. You know, they do this like the Autobots are doing today.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, that is so cool. I love that that has been an evolution, especially because like beast bots, it kind of makes sense. Animals have claws and teeth.
Yeah.
You know, Grimlock would do it all the time with a tail swipe every now and then.
100%. Yeah. The Dinobots are the first example of. I think those are the first examples of like beast modes. Aside,
Right.
like not including because they got introduced in a later episode. Not including like I guess Ravage is the OG then.
Maybe.
But his robot mode is his Jaguar mode.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah, he
Yeah,
turns into a cassette
bots
tape,
are weird
so.
like that. Also, like depending
Yeah.
on who's doing the writing, sometimes they're actually like animals, robots. Sometimes they're sentient robots. It's so
See Rat Bat.
yeah. It literally goes back to what you were talking about. How there's no real continuity. It's just there's no canon. It's all just
What are you reading? That's canon.
yeah.
That's what matters then.
For with that time and only for a certain time frame, like from this comic issue to this comic issue. That's the canon of that story.
Yep.
But yeah, like I was saying, like, and it's something I've noticed in newer ones, and I really like that. I also remember I saw one, I think it was in the one where Scourge is from, the one that's on your desk.
Yeah.
I think I remember an episode where Hotshot like is in car mode. He sticks his arm out with his gun, and he's doing a drive-by.
Yeah. One of them. There's been a couple times they do that in animated too, where Bumblebee will be like driving down the street, and he'll see like his human friend, and he'll transform his arm out of his car mode and grab him.
Yeah.
So,
but it's a really welcome development, I think, because it really shows like that you know what I mean? Like it shows like it's like what Tarantulas was talking about in the Earthspark thing. It's an extension of you. It's not you.
Yeah.
And it also does make sense because like obviously like we're talking about a robot like this who's running on legs or whatever. You know what I mean? Like if he could turn into a car with wheels, he's going to move a lot faster. So it does make a little bit of sense that they would find a way to use that vehicle mode in combat situations. So I'm just saying, like, I remember Hotshot in that series, like, he was like, he goes up a wall and drives like sideways, and he's like sticks his arm out, like, you know, he's still in car mode. He's just like doing a drive-by on a Decepticon.
I feel like Skybite does something similar, where he turns into a shark, but he like gets his robot arms at some point, or like he transforms out his robot legs. I feel like Skybite does that at some point too, but it's been a minute since I've seen car robots.
Right, but you get what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of there's a lot of things like that where it's like, oh yeah, I could totally see how that would work, and it's a welcome change to the Transformers mythos, and it was just something I thought was really cool and wanted to bring it up and see if. So I wondered if you had noticed it too, because like,
I hadn't like put thought into it because like having seen, you know, like Transformers media, and dude, Bumblebee kind of does something like that in the Bumblebee movie where he like half turns into his Volkswagen mode and like rolls around the living room and stuff, which I think that was like the first point where I was like, that's kind of weird but also kind of neat, because why wouldn't they be able to do that? You know, like, and then there's the other part which I don't know if you know what the term kibble means. So it basically means like robot junk that's shown in other modes. They canonized Kibble in Bumblebee because whenever the girl goes underneath him to work on him like a car, you know, she gets on her creeper and slides up underneath, you see Bumblebee's robot mode head. So
like, hi.
Yeah. So they
pictured
canonized Kibble because like cars don't have that. Why would a car have that? So it's just like the toy would have that, but not a real car, so they canonized Kibble.
I kind of like that a little bit. I do like that a little bit.
I love that. It makes so much sense. Like, right? Like, it has to go somewhere.
Right, exactly. It totally does. And then, like, could you imagine, like, you're working on that car and just see a face and it's like, hi, how you doing?
That's basically what happens. She, like, rolls underneath him and she's like, what is that? And then all of a sudden his eyes are, and she fucking screams.
Yeah, I would too. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Did you imagine if you open up your car trunk and there's just a head there?
There's a rat face.
It's got a face and everything.
Can you close that? It's bright.
It's like, ah! Oh yeah, there'd be. I would high pitched scream, and a manlier man down the road would be like, "Let's go help that lady! Come on, man!"
But yeah, it's like that was the first time when I like noticed it, because I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Of course they could do that. Why wouldn't they be able to not do that?
Yeah. Also, like, you know, and they don't really. I haven't seen that because in the other Transformers movies, like, it's what's his name, Kane or whatever, the night
Yeah,
one. Yeah,
Cade
Cade,
Yeager.
Cade Yeager is working on Optimus, and he's like, wait a minute, like he looks at something small, and that's how he figures out Optimus is, is a Transformer. He's
which
not
is stupid.
He didn't like open up the hood and see a head there, like he's like, you see something small, he's like, wait a damn minute, this ain't a truck. This is a robot.
I do know that in the Michael Bay movie, specifically the third one, there's a bit where Bumblebee, he's in his vehicle mode, and you hear the transformation sound, and you see it with the Wreckers too. In that movie, their car mode like widens, and like a bunch of guns pop out, and they do like the weapon mode.
Yeah, which is also like something that I was like, well, that should be a thing. That totally should be a thing.
And it is in the Transformers tabletop RPG.
Yeah, it should be a thing. Like, it totally makes sense. Why would they only be able to fire their weapons in one particular mode?
Yeah,
it totally makes sense to me. Like, and then of course, like I said, like in Beast Wars, which is what 90% of my media comes from, to be honest.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's okay. It's still Transformers. It's just,
we don't judge.
Mine turned into animals instead of robots, but it is
truck, not monkey.
Oh yeah, I've gotten some of that too. People are like, "You like Beast Wars, weirdo?" It's like, all right, whatever, man.
Yeah, I don't care. Whatever you grew up, I grew up with Transformers Animated, and that was hated whenever it came out.
Yeah,
and even still today, people are like, "That show sucks." I'm like, "Have you seen it?"
Yeah, it's like everything. I don't know, and I think everything has its charm. Honestly, if we're gonna be honest, I think like I said, I didn't think the Michael Bay movies were great for story, but the action scenes were immaculate. Yep. Like those fight scenes are epic. I would love to see some of that for like a purely Beast Wars movie where it's just about the robots. But that's just me.
I think we're getting almost that with this movie, which is nice.
I
like that they're cutting out a lot of the humans.
Yeah. And I not to say that the humans wouldn't be involved if this was like a real world thing, which is what Michael Bay was going for. He was like, okay, let's put the Transformers in this world, and how would that play out? Which is why we have all these complicated scenarios, like the government at one point helps the Decepticons instead of the Autobots. It's even though they have a treaty with the Autobots, it's like, that's the United States government for you and their treaties. I mean, what? I'm sorry, we're not supposed to talk about history on this channel. But anyway,
so goofy.
But yeah, it was very much like we got that story. We got like what would happen if the Transformers existed in our world.
Yep.
And I still don't like their version of Grimlock, but that's another.
I mean, all those Dinobots were wasted potential.
They're rough. Let's be honest. Like they're not even really. They're more animal than they are robot.
Yeah, they're supposed to be these like medieval knights, and then they're just like rampaging monsters.
Yeah, that's literally they were just monsters. Exactly. They were. Like Optimus has to beat up Grimlock to get them to help him.
Which, to be fair, not the first time he's had to do that.
Really?
Like,
is that? I don't remember.
Fully.
Well, I do remember that they had that fight when they first appeared because they were like more animal than bot.
Oh, multiple times. Grimlock is like, I'm bigger than you, Optimus. I could beat you in a fight. I should be the leader.
Yeah. Isn't there a whole comic where like Grimlock actually becomes the leader of the Autobots? And he's like a full tyrant.
So after Optimus Prime dies, Grimlock challenged Blaster, and Blaster goes, I guess, and so Grimlock just stomps him. It's not even a fight. It's Grimlock whoops him.
I'm bigger.
And then Grimlock is like this complete and utter tyrant. Well, and it's all because the writer really liked Grimlock and wanted to make him commander of the Autobots.
Which is really sad that he became a tyrant. I mean, it kind of makes a little bit of sense because he's kind of a brute force character. It's just kind of
he's kind of an idiot.
Yeah. But like his whole solution is like how an animal would do it. Can I eat it? No. Then we just destroy it and move on.
Yep. If I can't eat it, I light it on fire.
Yeah. If I can't do that, I crush it. All his solutions to problems are violence.
Yep.
Anyway. But yeah, that's why we like all these characters. They're very unique. They're very complex. Even the simpletons like Grimlock have their role to play.
So in the IDW comics, they actually explain why he's like that, and it's partially because he's now malfunctional, but the other part is because of PTSD. So what happens is him and the Dinobots go to Earth and they take on like the OG Beast Wars beast modes. Like they look like actual dinosaurs. And they go to Earth, to prehistoric Earth to kill Shockwave, and Shockwave just whoops him. He completely like one Shockwave versus 5 Dinobots. Shockwave won. It was ridiculous. Yeah, if you want to know how OP Shockwave is, you can read Spotlight Shockwave and Spotlight Grimlock. It shows it's so dumb how strong he is. But anyways,
I mean, I've heard things about Shockwave because doesn't he take over the Decepticons at one point too in various
multiple
continuities?
times, multiple times. So Grimlock gets put in the dirt essentially and goes and is forced into stasis lock. And when he comes out of stasis lock, he's malfunctioned, and then he has to fight the other 4 Dinobots while being manipulated by Scorponok. Because Scorponok is the only other Transformer in the vicinity at the time.
Jesus.
So not only does he have to like fight and potentially kill his teammates, he's also getting like completely duped by Scorponok. And I feel, and it's okay because he ends up with the Scavengers at some point, and the Scavengers are a bunch of fun dudes, and it's awesome, even though he's kind of a mindless monster at that point. But it's okay; he's still in there somewhere.
There's a Beast Wars comic where he gets reformatted into like he's like a copy of Dinobot from Beast Wars.
He's the Dalmatian raptor. Yeah,
exactly. But it's Grimlock, and he's just like, this feels weird. You know, he talks about how like it's weird to be this kind of form. He got reformatted to be more like a Maximal, and they have their whole continuity with like I think he's called Lio Convoy or something like that. He's like he's like the lion Optimus, you know what I mean? And like there's 2 of them. There's an elephant and a lion, and they're both
There's Big Convoy, which is the mammoth.
Yeah, there's like multiple leaders of the Autobots or the Maximals at that point in time, and they're all like, it's funny because when you think about them, they all look like Optimus. Their head sculpts are just Optimus. On a different Transformer's body.
Japan really didn't know what they were doing with that. They're just like, it's Convoy. That means it's Optimus, right?
And in one of the comic books, they went back in time to try to help Primal, and somehow they ended up in like an alternate reality. So they could hear and see them, but they couldn't interact. Like they were like ghosts, basically. So the whole Beast Wars saga that we saw in the cartoon is happening, and they can't interact. Instead, they're fighting Magmatron or something like that. Is his name?
The super combiner, the land air sea combiner.
Yeah, and
he's cool.
And he's the big bad of that Predacon faction. And then in the end, like I don't remember exactly what happens, but like there's like an infection of some kind. A bunch of the Maximals and Predacons get infected. They're more like mindless monsters basically fighting each other. And like a section of them have to go back, and then Magmatron somehow ends up on the good guys team because it's all about stopping Unicron again.
Yeah.
So it's like everybody like there's like the surviving Preds from that section of the Beast Wars have to help that surviving Maximals from that plague or whatever.
Is that the one where they get the robot parts put on them?
I think so. I can't remember exactly because it's been a while since I read it. So don't quote me on that. But I think they're dealing with like the same thing back on Cybertron, and like it's chaos. It's utter chaos. The whole comic is just chaos. There's plagues happening. There's multiple like leaders of the Maximals.
Dogs and cats living together.
Pure chaos. But anyway, that's that whole song. I mean, like it's like you and I've been saying, Transformers' this continuity is just fluid.
It's all over the place. It's whatever you want it to be.
Pretty much.
Make it up, and you're right. Sure.
Yeah, that's why we like it so much, and that's why that's probably to bring it back full circle before we end the conversation. To bring it back full circle, that's why we can't fathom why these people are like that, hating on guys like Nightshade who just exist in this continuity that is crazy.
Yeah, give it 3 years. Give it 3 years. Like we had a fan vote character named Windblade. Windblade got 4 toys in the span of 4 years. That's unheard of for a brand new character. She was blowing up. You want to know how many official figures she's gotten?
How many?
In the last 5 years, none. She's gotten none. She got a model kit from a licensee.
There you go.
And it doesn't even transform. So give it a few years. No one's gonna remember Nightshade.
Yeah, nobody will. Yeah, and then
it'll be too late.
Yeah, they'll find something else. Of course, in 3 years, like you said, they might all be doing what we were just talking about. How like we'll think it's strange when they pick he or she pronoun.
Yeah, it'll be completely different for Transformers. Yep.
Dude, if I was the writers for Transformers right now, I would totally be doing that just to
Like,
piss
put that
them
down
off.
for the next show. Next show,
they're all they them pronouns.
they're all whatever.
They're all they thems, all of them. And just watch them lose their goddamn mind. Like, could you imagine them seeing Optimus Prime? I am Optimus Prime.
My
The leader of
pronouns
the
are they
Autobots.
them.
My pronouns are they them, and then watch them go. No, no. That's what they sound like to me. Literally, when I read their tweets, that's what they sound.
I
like
would believe it. I would believe Optimus Prime is just like, whatever, I don't care.
Just call me whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I 100% believe he'd be like, anything, I don't care, whatever. Prime works, you could just call me Prime. That's
fine. Oh my goodness, yeah, exactly. I could see Optimus not giving a rat's ass with their pronouns. He'd be like, me whatever.
Yeah, he'd just be like, I got stuff to do. I don't care.
Oh my goodness.
There's things going on.
There's a
I gotta
war going
dunk on
on.
these
I
kids.
don't care about pronouns. All right, I got lives to save.
Yep.
But yeah, like, so that's the reason why, like, you and I, like I said, we have this aversion to these guys who are just so like, and their butt hurt over some of the silliest changes. Like,
it really is. It's, first of all, it's a new character. It's not like they're taking some random, like, it's like,
yeah, wasn't there like their original grief with all this stuff? Like, when like Marvel and DC would take an established character and then they'd make them a part of the LGBT, they were like, "Why don't you make your own characters?"
Yeah,
like,
they did that. They made the new
that.
character, and people are getting butthurt about it.
Yeah, they're still bitching about it. There's no winning with these.
Transformers went, okay, we'll do that.
Yeah, we'll make new ones. I'm like,
we'll make 5 new ones, and they're all a little different. And this one's a they them, and it's like, it's like, well, you said not to do it to the other one.
Shit, that's why I said I would go back and say they're all they them.
Yep.
And then that would be me
now
in the writer's room. There'd just be a picture of me holding up the script going,
yep.
That's for you.
And that's like I was talking to Angel of Alchemy earlier. I told her, I was like, you know, there's a few characters that if they flipped them, if they switched what their genders were, I probably wouldn't bat an eye. Like Jazz. You could swap Jazz. That works perfectly fine. Cosmos, the little UFO, that would do the retro 50s UFO as like a little tutu. Yeah, exactly. There's so many characters that, like, I don't care. You could probably switch them and it wouldn't affect anything, really.
No, I wouldn't. It wouldn't affect the story at all. None whatsoever. Like, literally, you could take like I'm a big Beast Wars fan, right?
Ratchet.
Take the entire cast of Beast Wars and make them all female or they thems. Changes.
Don't give the artists ideas. Don't give the artists ideas.
I'm just saying, you could take the entire cast, flip them, or make them all they them pronouns. And it changes nothing about the story. It
doesn't do anything.
It's just a story. And the truth is, the point of these characters is so that they appeal to a broader audience.
Exactly. And there's some kid right now sitting there going, I can't wait to go pick up Nightshade from the store.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of it.
Or I say kid. I shouldn't say kid because it makes the people butt hurt. There is some collector out there, and I probably know a few, who are looking at Nightshade and go, that is so cool that they put a character like that in the show. I want to go buy that. I want Nightshade in my collection.
Exactly, and that's the whole point. Like they've done this with several characters too, across fiction. Everybody's got characters. They're like, oh, I want to get that superhero that's like me, you know. So
exactly.
Like that one Green Lantern. Oh, what is her name? I can't remember.
It's like the episode of Teen Titans. Remember the episode of Teen Titans? Cyborg. He's all butthurt because he's like, I'm a robot man, and I don't like being a robot man. But then, like, at the end of the episode, the kid walks up and he's like, Cyborg, you're my favorite superhero. And Cyborg's like, why am I? He has the amputee arm.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect example. Somebody who's an amputee probably looks at somebody like Cyborg and says, yeah, I'm like him. So
yeah,
you know,
there's 100% a kid out there with a prosthetic arm who sees Cyborg and is like, just like that episode. That totally has to have happened.
That's a perfect example of what I was trying to say. Like, and there are other ones, like, for example, like when they did another Batman who was black. I was like, yeah. Why not? Because there's. Are
you talking about Signal? Are you talking about Signal, or did they actually like change like the dude who's wearing the cowl?
There was another guy who was. There were two Batman for a minute there, and one guy was a black guy in another city. And
I didn't know about
Wayne in
that.
Gotham. Yeah, I can't remember his name for the life of me, to be honest, because there's so many where they do offshoots of them. Like there's like so many
Yeah.
Flashes and Superman now. There's 2 Supermen now. There's gonna be another Wonder
Yeah.
Woman. So in my defense, there's a few people carrying the mantle now. So it's hard to
Yeah.
keep track of it
It's
all.
like all new, all different Marvel all over again.
Yeah, but it's cool. I like that. I love the idea that there's a black kid somewhere out there who is like who sees that there's a version of Batman that's like him. Or Miles Morales. He's a perfect example of that. He's
So,
a black
do you know-
Spider-Man.
Do you know this about Miles Morales? So, Brian Michael Bendis, who is the creator of Spider-Man, Miles Morales. There we go. Forgot his name there for a second. Just totally blinked. He has 6 adopted daughters, and he's a white guy. They are all, I think they're all different, but they are not white. I don't know what their race is, but they are not white. I assume they are Hispanic and black because he made Miles Morales because he wanted a superhero that appealed to them. So he asked them, he's like, what would you like to see? And they're like, a Spider-Man that's like us. And so he made Spider-Man like them. He made Ironheart to appeal to them, which
I love
not
that.
the same. Not Ironheart is a whole other package of things because she's not a very great character in general.
She
but
could be though. She could be. Just
she has potential. She has potential. I'll give you that.
We just need a good writer. That's all she needs.
We need not Brian Michael Bendis.
Yeah, we just need a really good writer for her, and she could be just as big as Iron Man.
Yep.
Like they always want. But yeah,
exactly. That's the thing is that and speaking of other Spider-Man, Miguel O'Hara is, I think he's half. I think he's half Hispanic as well.
Yep, he's half. Just like Miles, he's half Hispanic and he's half Irish, I think.
Yeah,
So,
I was going to say I think he's a white.
Yeah.
One of the white flavors.
But one of the vanilla flavors of people.
Yeah. There we go.
But yeah, like but the cool thing I like is that his new animated version of him is leaning more towards his Hispanic heritage.
Yeah.
Which in the comic books they kind of let him more towards his white side. But I'm actually excited about that because like that representation is so needed right now.
Yeah. I'm a big there is a Spider-Man 2099 under number 1 underneath my desk right now. Underneath a pile of comic books. I love 2099. He's my favorite Spider-Man. And so to see him in any form, one, is awesome. But secondly, the fact that they're doing a little bit of a different take on him. He's a little bit bigger than he's huge.
He is.
I'm really excited to see him.
Not
only because he's one of my favorite. Not only because he's like my favorite Spider-Man character, but also because it's like, oh, cool, we're getting not just another white spider guy who kind of looks like Peter Parker.
Yeah.
So
which is very much what his comic book self kind of had that vibe. Like it just felt like he was just another.
He does, like, especially in the early issues, he kind of looks just like a redrawn Peter Parker.
Yeah. And
it looks like they changed a couple features and was like, cut, print, good.
Yeah, exactly. It's like what Transformers does with their toys. I mean, what?
It's not like I have how many cliff jumpers? How many cliff jumper molds and bumblebee molds? Ooh, I think it's 6.
I just had to throw that jab in there.
Yeah. You want reuse? See Starscream.
Right. It's like what was
there's a bajillion of them.
What was the green one's name again? Toxic Rain
Acid Storm.
Acid Storm. There you go. Acid Storm is just Starscream with green paint.
Dude, so real quick, there was a Starscream mold that was reused. I kid you not, 40 times, not including the first Starscream.
Hasbro made bank off that mold.
It is the most the theory is that Hasbro needs to put it in for Guinness Book of World Records for most repainted and reused toy.
They need to. I agree.
Right now they're at, I think they're at 7 with the current Starscream mold. I think they're at 7, and they got to 14 with the last one.
Oh my
so
goodness.
None of them have yet to dethrone the OG, not the original, but the classics version.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. That is just Hasbro made bank off of one damn mold.
They made Starscream and went, hold up.
What if we painted him green, pink, blue, light blue, gray, red, and you know what? For shits and giggles, for that 1 month, rainbow.
Oh God, Action Master Thundercracker.
But I didn't even know that they actually did that. But you know what? There you
Yeah,
go.
he has like a gold head, a blue face, red torso, purple wings, yellow fins. Yeah, he looks goofy.
Rainbow Starscream.
Action
Rainbow
Master
Starscream.
Action Master Thundercracker colors. Yep.
Yeah, he's just Rainbow Starscream.
It's ugly. You want
That
something ugly to look at? Give that a Google.
That Starscream is just like, "Hi, I am here." Oh, I'm sorry. That's a bad joke. That's a bad joke. Anyway, all right, guys. Cyrus, can you do us a favor and tell the audience where they can find you?
I am on a few places. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Bots Obsession. That's if you want to see some more Transformers content. I do Transformers toy reviews. I do vlogs on conventions as well on that channel. I post convention photos and Transformers pictures every now and then. But yeah, if you're interested in Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, I also do Yu-Gi-Oh and Grand Archive on Invoked 101 on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube as well.
And all that stuff will be linked in the description below. Trust me, you want to go follow my friend here because he's just so much fun. Anyway.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Well, if you're remember to like and subscribe and check out my friend, and we will catch you in the next one. Peace.